Hey guys, it's Koopa. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up for what we're going to be listening to this week. This is a main feed preview for a side podcast I'm going to be hosting with my friend Shannoniganz, aka Shannon, for this upcoming season of Survivor. We are doing a review podcast every week, so just want to let you guys know. I mentioned it in the podcast that this is not going to be replacing Koop'd or Koop'd isn't going to be going anywhere. We are instead just, adding some more content for you guys to listen to. So if you want to listen to this show, feel free to do so. It's going to be up in the main feed with a couple different bells and whistles. But for this week only, it'll be part of the main Koop'd Up feed if you're into this. So enjoy mine and Shannon's deep dive and first impressions of the cast of, season 41 of Survivor on the debut episode of The Tribe is Broken. Enjoy. Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special first episode of a new podcast that I'm launching on the Koop'd Up feeds. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the inaugural episode of The Tribe is Broken. This is going to be a weekly Survivor podcast hosted by not just myself. I have brought along some backup here. I'm so excited to talk about the new season of Survivor. And concurrent to as it's airing. So I brought along my friend. You might recognize her from the reality TV show Breakdown podcast we did on Koop'd Up proper. Please welcome back to the show, Shannon. Shannon, how are you?
Hi guys, I'm good. I am so excited. A little bit about me and my Survivor love. I've seen all 40 seasons thus far, some multiple times. I'm not proud of that. I am one of those people where if you do watch Survivor, there's like the super fans, and it's always super exciting when they get on the show. I would definitely consider myself a super fan. So I'm really excited to get into the cast of 41. There's some new changes this year, which will either make it more exciting or make all of us cry, and they'll go back to how it's always been done for 42.
Yeah, I'm super excited to do this. Survivor has been one of the tent poles of my personality and like one of the things that I've loved, throughout the entirety of my life. And, there was a big, off season, obviously due to the coronavirus pandemic. So Survivor had to shut down production last March. They were able to sneak in back to Fiji back in March of 2021. They were able to film a season, and now, we have a new season of Survivor to watch. And, podcasting is something that I've really enjoyed. I don't think the internet is lacking in Survivor podcasts, but, I want to, throw my hat into the ring. Gives us something to talk about every week, Shannon. So like you mentioned, some format changes for this upcoming season of Survivor. And so I think I'll get your impressions right off the bat. What is do you like some of the changes that you're doing so far?
I definitely think it's going to be interesting, right? Because something I've also started watching over quarantine is Naked and Afraid. And that is very bare bones minimum survival. And my hope is with them saying, "Oh, we're not giving them food and we're making it shorter." My hope is they made it shorter because it's going to be more difficult to actually survive, as the name of the show, implies.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So obviously, if you're not familiar with how Survivor functions as a show, traditionally, a cast of 16 to 20 people, varies with the season, are marooned in a desert island, and are divided into tribes of however many. They compete in challenges both for reward and for immunity, and the losing tribe thus has to vote somebody out of their tribe, and that cycle continues until both tribes merge, and then that continues until there is a sole survivor. And usually Survivor is played throughout over the course of 39 days. And the biggest change so far from 41, and Jeff Probst, host and executive producer of the show, has been pretty open that this is a new era for Survivor. They're really trying to push that this is a that what was once a a fixture of the first 40 seasons and 20 years of the show, is now going to be different. And one of the biggest ones being is that they have actually cut down the season 1/3. So season 41 at least is going to be 26 days versus 39 days. And yeah, they've been very open about, like, the about quote unquote the monster at the end of the horror movie, about what's gonna, like, how tough this season is gonna be. From I haven't, I've read on some things that, that might mean less reward challenges, that, there's, which is fine by me personally. I feel like they've kind of phased those out as it's happened, but I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I think what we're going to get out of this is maybe a little bit more fast-paced gameplay. You're probably going to see a lot more double boots. So I don't know. I think right off the gate, I'm excited to see how this goes. It's going to be fun to see, the game maybe picked up a little bit in pace.
Yeah, and they're still starting. They have 3 tribes of 6 people each, so 18 total. So right in that median still, or medium amount of, usually, like you said, like 20 is like kind of the, I guess, the standard that's been set, right? It could be a
Sure.
little less, like 16, 18 this season. I think maybe once or twice it's been a little more. Maybe on some of those, like, why do I think like Brains and Beauty and Bronze was a little more than 20?
No, I don't think they've ever done more than 20 in an American season. I know in,
Hmm.
like, the foreign seasons, I think they've expanded the tribes to like 22 or 24.
That's probably
Um,
what it is. If you're not new to Survivor, the seasons do begin to run together. Also, not only the
yeah.
seasons, but the various variations of Survivor. There's a lot, but the concept doesn't change so much that it's every season's quite as unique. So I'm hoping with these changes, it kind of sets itself. If this is a new era, I'm expecting this to be kind of unique.
Yeah, I'm totally in line with that too. I think especially for like a new person cast, I think 18 is sort of the sweet spot. I think one of the biggest problems that Survivor's had, I think, in my opinion, the last 10 seasons is storytelling. Because there's so much emphasis on, the game twist. There's so much emphasis on, the advantages and everything that comes with it, that I feel like you lose a lot in regards to kind of fleshing out some of these stories, especially in the earlier episodes where you're trying to really get to know everybody. And I feel like, maybe with 26 days, it's going to allow, maybe for some better storytelling, for Survivor to get back to what it once initially was, which is essentially just like a social experiment. And I hopefully, less days means that the advantages are going to be a little bit less frequent. And I'm really hoping that they really just get down to, kind of fleshing out the stories of some of these people better, because, this cast is very interesting. And we're going to go into depth about, the castaways as our debut episode goes on. But that also leads me into the second transition of what the biggest story of this season so far is, that they've dropped the theming motif. Survivor
Yes.
41 is simply just known as Survivor 41. So how do you feel about that?
I think it kind of goes along with what has been said a little bit, that Jeff is going to break the fourth wall, and we as the viewers are kind of going to have more insight into things as they would happen. I think in a way that might be the new unspoken theme, right? Because Jeff has always been very interactive with the cast itself, but never really with the viewer at home. So I think it's almost more of a game. They've called it a game flat out over the years, but now especially, and now they say there's this game within the game for the viewers at home, which should be fun for us to try to figure out. So I think that kind of is the theme. I don't think it needs a theme if it goes well the way they are intending. Um, I am gonna miss some of the themes. I think some of them were fun and good. Like I said earlier, Brains versus Beauty versus Brawn was good. I think they've done like, oh, Blood versus Water, obviously very popular. I still am waiting for Heroes versus Villains too, though.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm honestly surprised I haven't done that one yet.
yeah,
And what, like Jeff even said in his interviews, like, we're not going to completely abandon the theme motifs. I'm sure, whenever they film more of these seasons moving forward, that they're going to be, I'm sure they'll incorporate, it's like, oh, Survivor 43 or 44. They can probably throw like a tagline at the end of that, because I agree. I think Second Chance is a theme that people have been crying for. I think Obviously another blood versus water season, which is my personal favorite of like the the theming motifs. I think that one's a lot of fun. Heroes versus villains too, I feel like is just there for the teeing off. I don't, I hope they do that again, but I feel like they channeled the magic so perfectly for that season. It's
Mhm.
many people's favorite season of Survivor. Mine also,
It's mine. Yeah. No, it's
included.
mine.
Included in that. So I don't know. I'm really excited to see, just kind of a sort of back to basics, game season of Survivor. And it's not held down by the chains of a theme because, you see it time and time again that, they really have to kind of to shoehorn, the theming motifs in throughout the season. And then it kind of just like lingers over the tribe until the end of the season. And, it becomes a big talking point of the final tribal council, which isn't necessarily always fair because like at that point, the motif really doesn't mean much. So I'm excited to see again, like sort of a back to basic seasons. It's a little strange to see just a giant number plastered on the side
Mhm.
of the
Right.
buffs and the merchandise. So that's a little weird. And you also mentioned the other change that they mentioned is that, and Jeff said this in CBS posted a promotional video that kind of like breaks down some of what the big changes are this season. And the other one that they focus on was called the game within a game. So, did you catch this the first time you watched this trailer? Because I actually had to watch this the second time before I caught on what he was talking about.
So I actually read it first. Apparently, from what they say, there's going to be little clues and things for us to look for, puzzles for us to solve at home, to kind of give the people like us who want to be on Survivor, kind of an idea of, hey, could we actually do this? Because I think how many people do we have that go on and say, oh, I'm a Survivor super fan, I got this in the bag, and then they don't. Um, so I think it'll be interesting. I am excited to see how Jeff breaks the fourth wall with that. Because again, that's never really happened unless it's the reunion.
Yes.
So I'm kind of excited to see how that works. I'm definitely missing the Jeff sass in my life. So excited.
Yeah, I agree. And I think so from if I could put a thought onto what I think is going to happen here, um because if I remember, I remember vividly from the first season of Survivor that there'd be these awkward transitions between like, challenge or tribal council where Jeff would like address the audience about what exactly is going on. So I
Hmm.
feel like we're gonna maybe see a lot more of that per se. And even regardless how they do it, I do like that they're at least trying to keep everybody in the in the know about what's happening with these twists because again, one of the biggest problems, I don't think my issue derives from the twists. I feel like especially in the last few seasons of the show, whoever has the most jewelry and like advantages at the end of the game is
Hmm.
usually deemed like the sole survivor. But again, that doesn't necessarily always net you a win because for every Edge of Extinction victory you get pretty much the same game the next season, and does not pan out well for the guy with all the jewelry. So I'm really excited to see, at least keeping everybody in the loop. It's like, okay, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what you can expect. And the audience at home can expect that. I'm sure having that, game within a game will be fun for the, to keep people entertained at home.
Hmm.
Because I think one of the worst aspects of Survivor, some of the bad episodes is that when people are just bored and like aren't doing anything, and some of these like middle days, like days 9 through 12, like right before the merge, uh, are usually kind of a dry spell. So if they can find a way to kind of amp that sort of up, keep things entertaining throughout, then again, I welcome these changes, and it's going to be a lot of fun in my opinion. I'm usually a stickler for change, but I've been so touch star for Survivor, and I'm sure you
Hmm.
can,
Right.
a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
other people are in the same boat as
Hmm.
us. I'm very excited for what these twists have in store.
All right. Should we get to the people?
Yeah. So as there's just for a format, note, the way that we're going to do these podcasts is that once the Survivor airs October 22nd, not September 22nd, woof, editing note.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. So the season will debut in a couple of weeks at the time of us recording this. So, once the episodes go live, we'll watch them. We'll talk about them. We'll talk you through it. And we'll figure out some other stuff along the way as well. But as for a debut episode here, we're just gonna kind of go through the 18 castaways that we're gonna see on your TV this season, as well as, shout outs to parade.com, great website for entertainment.
Yes.
They have posted some tribe breakdowns as well, so we can at least, kind of use that as reference to see, how people's personalities are going to niche because, and mix well, because Shannon, we have a 3-tribe out the gate start this time around. So, yeah, give me your take on 3 tribes. 'Cause I know this is a very controversial take.
Like, I don't love 3 tribes at the start. I think that's fine for a mix up once relationships have already been built. I just feel like that causes so much, like, almost, actually, it's funny from a production standpoint. It's like you're pinballing now between 3 tribes, whereas 2 just works so nicely, I feel like. So as long as they give everybody equal time, because there's definitely been 3 tribes in the past where one hasn't, I forget what season it was, but it might have been 2 tribes. I don't know. But if a tribe is doing well, right, and they're not really having much going on, they don't tend to focus on them. I want to know all these people. I want to see it all. So if they can split their time evenly with 3 tribes, as they've done before, sure. But even with the shorter day, like shorter game, it's like, okay, there's so much more they have to cram into each episode, and I just worry that we're gonna lose a tribe in there somewhere.
Yeah, I definitely can attest to that as well. Again, the biggest issue with 3 tribes is, like you said, it comes down to the editing side of things, and it also plays back into what I said about storytelling. There's so many times where people just get lost in the story
Hmm.
because there's so much other stuff going on amongst the show that they have to catch up with. So that's a little frustrating, nonetheless. But again, if it's only since we're in a back to basic season, kind of sorta, I feel
Hmm.
like there'll be like a higher emphasis on storytelling here. So I feel like we'll get equal amounts of time
Right.
with everybody at least at the start. And I think starting them in 3 tribes is in my opinion, I like that better than swapping the 3 tribes because at that point there's already like pre-established stuff, and
Hmm.
you've seen it time and time again. Is using this last season as an example. Parvati playing a pretty decent game, and then she gets
Yeah.
swap screwed very bad, as
Hmm.
does Boston Rob. So it's been said time and time again about how the swap screw can really screw people up, and I feel like since they're already starting with 3 tribes, I think my hot take will be that I don't think there's going to be any tribe swaps. I think they're just going to
No.
if one tribe eats shit, I think they're just going to let that tribe eat shit until somebody gets erased. So
Right. And I mean, we've seen it before. There has, for the people who don't know, on Survivor, there has been a tribe of 1 before.
yes, there has been, yeah, all the way
We
back
could
in
s-
season 10.
we could see that again super easy if they just kind of let it rock. Now in a perfect world, right? The first, every tribe, right? So, like I said, 3 tribes is 6. They would all probably get down to a mix of 3 or 4 per tribe and merge. That doesn't always happen. There
Yes.
has been totally dominant seasons by tribes where in the merge it's predominantly one tribe and then just like a couple throw-ins from the other tribe. So as kind of what you were saying, let's say like I said, 3 tribes of 6, one of them does go down to that one and then is knocked out. They could just merge right then and there.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting to see how they navigate this because I'm truly of the nature that I don't think any tribe swaps are happening this season. And, with smaller tribes, it's going to give you more time to kind of, get to see everybody. But at the same time, there's nowhere to hide on these smaller tribes. So,
Mm-mm.
if your favorite is finding themselves on the outsides early, it's not going to be good. So, we'll see how that all shakes down. And, are you ready to start getting into some of these people here? Because I'm very excited about this
Yes.
cast.
Yeah, this cast is very diverse, very interesting people. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I do want to say that off the cuff, because as I'm pretty. I don't want to say involved with the Survivor community, but I do keep my hand on the pulse from most things that are happening. And a big issue over the last year, with the Black Lives Matter movement, and a push for better representation in places where there isn't. Survivor reality TV was one of those places that got hit. And I know that a couple of Survivor alumni, sent in a letter to CBS to be like, hey, listen, we want better representation for people of color on television. and you see it with this cast. This cast is incredibly diverse, and I believe CBS passed a diversity initiative where I think moving forward with shows like Big Brother and Survivor, that at least 50% of the cast is going to be people of color, and that's awesome. I think that's
Yeah,
amazing.
and I would say, looking at the cast, that's true. Like, that is a fact here. Not only diverse in that sense, right? But what I've noticed is this specific cast of Survivor much more age diverse as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think this is also I feel like the casting team has to get their roses here, because saying season 40 because that was an all-star season,
Hmm.
but seasons 38 and 39 and 37 as well, very diverse in regards to not only just people of color, but also people of age, like you just mentioned. Some of my problems with like the recruitment era of Survivor is that and the biggest glaring culprit of this is Survivor Ghost Island, where everybody is like, in their like late, mid 20s up to their like mid 30s, and like everybody
Hmm.
looks like they're like models.
Right.
So like I want to see people really a little bit relatable to
Normal
me. So,
people.
yeah,
Right. Normal
yeah,
people.
people that are a little bit older, different body types, different all that stuff. So like you mentioned, there's a big there's some people that are skewing in their 50s and late 40s in this cast, but also some people on the younger side of things. So it's going to be fun to see how these dynamics shake out socially.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're ready to get started, I have our first person up here. Um,
Yeah, go
let's see.
ahead.
So
Tell us
this
about
is
our So for the folks
okay.
following at home, we'll put this in the bio at home if you want to follow along with us. We are reading off of the Entertainment Weekly breakdown of the cast, so you guys can follow along with us at home with that. So I'll leave a link in the description of the podcast. So Shannon, lead us off. Who is our first castaway of season 41 we're talking about?
Okay, this is Sydney. I'm not even going to try with some of these last names, so let's just stick to first names. This is Sydney. She is 26 from Los Angeles, California. She currently lives in Brooklyn, New York, and she is a law student. Okay.
Yeah. So right off the bat, Sydney looks like a lot of fun. Again,
Mm-hmm.
like you mentioned, 26, law student. That's a pretty common. I feel like there's been a lot of law students on Survivor. I think something that that really stuck with me is what her pet peeves are, which
Yes.
include bodily noises such as sniffing, snoring, heavy breathing, and coughing. I hope she knows
Interesting.
what she's signing up for, because
Right.
there's going to be a lot of that on an island, where you don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have the comforts of home or maybe a CPAP machine. So
Right. Interesting that she says she'll play like Natalie. Honestly, I took one look at her and I thought Parvati immediately.
you know what it is? I feel like so many, there's been so many like subsections of Parvati since
Mm-hmm.
Survivor started. Everybody's trying to gun for the Parvati 2.0, the young
Right.
attractive looking woman who will flirt her way to the end. And for the Natalie she compares herself to, not Natalie Anderson, obviously a fitness freak, and pound for pound probably easily the toughest woman to ever play and
Yes.
win Survivor.
She's very strong.
Compares herself to Natalie White, considered by many to be one of the worst winners in the show's history. Um, and I'm sure I'm not sure how the public opinion has changed in that lately. Again, as the game has developed, I feel like the game of Russell is definitely looked at a little bit less delightfully as it
Right.
has been in the past. But she does say she plays most like Natalie White, where she was able to assess her place in the tribe and her alliance while consciously nursing Russell's ego. The social awareness is something that I admired. But Natalie also had, like, I don't know, 14 confessionals in a winning season, which is not
Right.
necessarily great
That's
from an
not
editing
great. Not
standpoint.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, just kind of reading through everything here, she mentions why she thinks she can win Survivor, and she says, "I have the essential social skills and social awareness. I am athletic, but not some 6'2" buff dude who will be threatening. I am not a creature of habit and can adapt to any situation. Having watched Survivor, I have the benefit of hindsight and think I have a high Survivor IQ." So I know
I
she
will
definitely.
say,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, I will say, reading over her bio here, she does like to run. She likes to play soccer. She was a California state champion in cross country. She is athletic for sure, which is a very good thing to be on Survivor.
Yeah, you've seen it time and time again. These fitness beasts usually do pretty well. Again, Natalie, despite being voted out first in season 40, was able to just like dominate everybody on the edge of extinction and
Hmm.
win her way back into the game. I don't know. Sydney looks like a lot of fun. She definitely looks
Yes.
like a she definitely is gonna, I'm sure, be penciled in as the flirt,
Hmm.
quote unquote. And I feel like there's definitely some video stuff where she's also mentioned it's like, yeah, like I know I'm attractive, and I'm sure she'll, I think she mentioned she'll use that in her advantage when she needs to.
So,
Uh,
like, to me, then I don't even think that comparing herself, or for me, when I say, "Oh, she reminds me of Parvati," I don't think that's a bad thing because if she can use that while also being athletic,
yeah,
that's a serious threat.
Yeah, and looking at the tribe that she's going to be on, though, I don't know how much of an asset that might be for her. The men on
Yeah.
her tribe include, Danny McRae, an ex NFL player, Deshaun, who's a 26-year-old medical student, and Nasir, who is a 36-year-old sales manager from California. So, not necessarily sure how much that's going to come into play, but I think she definitely seems like she's physically capable of holding her own. So,
Hmm.
I'm excited to see how she does here. I definitely think she's there's a lot of potential here. There's maybe a stronger version of a Parvati here, maybe a bit of a Michelle
Hmm.
Fitzgerald, not necessarily someone you
Yeah.
would expect to win a lot of these big challenges, but definitely can be a challenge threat. And kind of looking at the other women on her tribe, I think she'll be in a good spot.
Hmm.
I don't think she's at least any threat of an early boot, but we'll see how things go. I hope she sticks around for a bit because she sounds like she'll be great TV. Wearing a great
Yeah.
bathing suit, by the way, in her cast photo.
Yeah, no, I love her whole look. Like I love her. No, I want her to be on for a long time because she does seem like good TV. So I'm excited.
Yeah, so that takes care of Sydney Segal from Brooklyn, New York. And as we just mentioned, our next cast we will be talking about, Danny McRae, a 33-year-old retired NFL player from Houston, Texas. Again, a lot of what Danny's bio, consists of that he's incredibly competitive.
Hmm.
How he wants to, really change the game of Survivor. And I gotta say, very interesting choice for a past survivor he's played, like Ben Driebergen, the one big move king. So what are your thoughts on Danny from after reading through some of his bio?
You know, so there's a trap you can fall into on Survivor, and that's the people who just try too hard.
Yeah,
And the fact that he keeps saying, "I'm so competitive. I want to win. I'm competitive. I just want to," like you said, he compares himself to Ben. He says the way Ben was able to outwork everyone on the tribe and do what he needed to do in order to survive was truly admirable. It's that back against the wall mentality I admire. I don't know.
yeah. So I love the gusto here from Danny, because a lot of what these people's I've skimmed through a few of these bios, and a lot of what people said is that their plans are to lay low. They don't want to do anything too crazy, but in video interviews and other interviews, Danny said that the second he touches down on the beach, he's trying to get his hands on an idol. And you've seen it in the past, that game plan, like you mentioned, doesn't always pan out. And as good as I'm a little bit higher on Ben as a player than other people are. I know that
Hmm.
season is not looked at in the greatest light, but he still he still took advantage of a situation where he found all those immunity idols and was able to get himself to the end against two people that I think he did better than. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out for Danny. I just feel like in a game where you're on a tribe of 6, you're not
Hmm.
going to have a lot of cover room
No,
to do these things that he wants. I do like that he mentions that he has a fear of letting the people he loves down. Kind of similar to
that's
Adam Sandler in
nice.
the Waterboy. So if it goes anything like the Waterboy, I think it'll work out well for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like I feel like this cast, kind of reading through their bios, they're very like book smart. I feel like there's a lot
Right.
of like heavy strategy people here, and I think they're gonna look at someone like Danny and be like, we need to get this guy out of here
Mhm.
immediately.
I agree. They're not gonna let anybody physically dominate the game like we've seen in the past. Like Tony's a great example of that, right? They're not going to let anybody who's physical. Danny, clearly a very physical person, ex NFL. Like you said, they're very book smart. You know, they're not going to let those people get to the merge or the end. You know, whether it's a final three, final two, because the people who play like that, you know, the Tonys of the world, that's a very easy choice to win. They were physically dominating. They were smart. I think we're going to really see a lot of the book smart people kind of outlast those people this season.
Yeah, and also the track record of the ex-athlete on these shows isn't necessarily
It's
the
not great.
best. It's not great. Players like Alan Ball from from Triple H,
Hmm.
Gary Hogaboom from Survivor Guatemala. The ex-athlete doesn't necessarily always do well in these shows. So
John Morrison,
yes, yeah,
who
shout out
people
to
often forget was on Survivor.
yeah, Johnny Mundo, one of my personal favorites from David versus Goliath. Also, my
Yeah, no,
favorite
he was
season
great.
of a lot of people on this cast, from what I realized.
Hmm.
So I feel like that season was very instrumental to influencing some of the gameplay here. So, I hope Danny's around on TV for a while. I think it'll make great television regardless, whether he, makes it to the end or burns out in a blaze of glory. But we'll see how it pans out here.
All right. So next we have Liliana Wallace. She is 20 from Evanston, Illinois, currently living in Washington, D.C. She is a college student whose hobbies include dancing, running, and writing poetry. Looks like another athletic girl here.
Yeah, she definitely is very she definitely looks very athletic, as you mentioned. Again, dancing and running, great skills to have. And also, and so she mentions in her bio, the player she wants to play the game like is Tony. And
Hmm.
that's
All right.
I mentioned that she's, I would hope to be a hybrid of Tony and Elaine Stott from Survivor Island of the Idols. That's definitely an interesting player comparison there. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
to talk about the Tony of it all, uh, Tony won two. He won his first season in Cagayan. Tony was an outlier. I don't think it's so hard, to really take anything from Tony's game like that, because the people playing around him just like were so like not great. like
Right.
like
Right.
someone like it's like someone that comes out the gates guns and blazing like Tony doesn't win, because you look at what happened when he came out a second time and he gets voted out immediately. So
Right.
but again, just kind of reading through a bit of Liana's bio, like she said, she's very smart, obviously. Mentions performed spoken word in front of Congressman John Lewis, spent time in Tokyo and Singapore in her childhood. So, well traveled, and again, she's definitely trying to fill in some big shoes here, but and kind of looking at her, the tribe she's going to be on, I feel like she might have some room to work here. She is on the Yase tribe with David Voce, a 34-year-old neurosurgeon, Eric Abraham, a 50-year-old cybersecurity analyst, Evie Jagoda, a 28-year-old PhD student, Tiffany Seeley, a 47-year-old teacher, and Xander Hastings, a 20-year-old app developer. So, definitely an interesting group of people there. But listen, she seems, again, kind of shades of Sydney, very physically, kept,
Mm-hmm.
being able, I'm sure she'll be able to keep up on her own. So I don't know. Is there anything else that you're grabbing here that stands out to you?
So the reason I think like she is a dancer, she says her hero is Misty Copeland, the first female African American dancer to be promoted to a principal dancer for the American Ballet Theater. As someone who has dabbled in dance, you don't really know those things unless you have grown up doing ballet, which means I expect her to have very good balance, very good core strength. She's strong. I know she might not, maybe look even as physically strong as Sydney did, but I am expecting really good things from her in challenges.
Yeah, listen, she's definitely looking to fill some intense shoes. It's really funny how she mentioned she wants to play like Tony, but also mentioned that she hated Tony as a viewer.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see again if you try to emulate the Tony Vlachos, it might not work out for you. Granted, Tony, I think is the GOAT.
Right.
He's managed to, win, crash and burn and then win again when no one expected him to. So
Mhm.
it's going to be so much fun to watch how this pans out here. So I'm looking forward to Liana. I'm curious to see how she'll blend in with this tribe. That the Yase tribe, kind of just looking at who they have here, I think that's going to be a tough tribe to beat.
That's an
IMO.
interesting tribe. It's
Yeah.
just interesting. I don't have a better word other than interesting. Like this is such a within these six people, it's so diverse in itself.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how that meshes together. As we move on to our next castaway, one of your favorites when we talked about this in the DMs
Here
as we
he
planned
is.
this, Brad Reese, the first Survivor contestant from the great state of Wyoming, a 50-year-old rancher, enjoys hunting, fishing, and helping others pursue their passions and achieve their dreams. And so Brad looks like a lot of fun.
Yes.
He's a private pilot. He said he's almost died from a rattlesnake bite. Has been blown up by a propane tank,
Oh my
and yet somehow has
gosh.
managed to make it on Survivor. And says that the past player he wishes to play like the most is Boston Rob. We don't have the
I
same
like that.
personality, but his thoughtful strategic play is how I see myself playing. So I know you got big stock in Brad. So
Yes.
what do you think here?
So Brad, and I said this to you right away, gave me Bob vibes. For those who don't know, Bob is the person who won our very own Kenny's season of Survivor.
Yes, shout out
In
to
Gabon.
Ken.
Yes, Kenny. So I honestly, his personality is very Bob, right? Because Bob was very well traveled. I think he was a teacher.
Yes, a
But he
teacher
was very
from Vermont, I think, or one of
yeah,
those.
but he was extremely well traveled in the world. I think he had even like been to Africa before the season. Um and just that love for life is what I see in Brad mentioning all these things he's done, the rattlesnake encounters and being a pilot and the propane tank and he's got a wife of 21 years, 4 kids, so he's very seasoned in life. He likes to hunt, fish, help others. I don't know. So I just think like a Bob personality almost with a Boston Rob strategy. I'm very invested in Brad. I think he's going to do super well, but I want to wait. My one thing is, I want to see how he does in survivor challenges. Obviously, he's a rancher, he's very fit. So taking care of all those animals, and I don't know what else he has on his ranch. I want to see how all this hard work, kind of more traditional labor skills carries over to the survivor challenges, which oftentimes can be very unique.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this all shakes out here for for Brad. Again, I think I'm very interested by him. The fact that there's been how many seasons of the show, and this is the first person from Wyoming to
Hmm.
be on the show is interesting. You can tell just by his bio, he screams provider. He screams
Yes.
the type of person like, Rupert or, Penner from his first time around in Cook
Hmm.
Islands, just someone that wants to provide for the tribe. I don't know necessarily if that archetype, in my opinion, has aged like not as great because
No.
I feel like people have caught on that like listen, the producers are not going to let you die out there.
Right.
You've seen it time and time again. Players are able to negotiate deals for more food in exchange for something else. So I feel like necessarily the role of a provider might not necessarily be that essential in the coming from the 30s. So I feel like in a situation like that, somebody like Brad would not have done well because I feel like you're like, okay, we can afford to lose the provider and we'll figure out the rest. In a scenario where there aren't a lot of reward challenges, it sounds like that food might be sort of a scarcity out here. Having someone like Brad, I think, is a huge asset. On your
Hmm.
tribe. So I hope he sticks around for a while. If he does, he doesn't really scream like a threat to me. Like, sort of like how, Bob wasn't necessarily a threat in his
Right.
own right. So he definitely has very non-threatening vibes. So I feel like people might kind of, drag him along for a bit. And I hope that's the case because he seems like a very interesting player.
Yes. Okay. Next, Erica. I'm gonna try Kasu Penan. Maybe I don't know. I'm sorry, Erica.
Kasupanen? Yeah, let's just go with that.
Something. She is 32. She is from Niagara Falls. She currently lives in Toronto. She is a communications manager. Oh, she's a boxer. I love that.
Love that. That's great.
She also likes traveling, fitness, pop culture. Three words to describe her: fun, fearless, empathetic.
That honestly, that's relatable. I feel
The
that.
pet peeves really got me. Ignorance and men in ill-fitting jeans.
Can we have like a talk about that? Like what? Like as listen, as a man, I don't I'm ignorant to all most things fashion. Is like too loose ill fitting, too tight ill fitting? Like where's the line drawn for ill fitting?
For me, when I think of ill-fitting, um it is too loose, I guess, kind of where there is no different, like, so in my opinion, when you look at a pair of jeans, right, the thigh should not be as wide as the ankle.
Okay, I get it.
So ill-fitting for me is just kind of like there's no shape to them. You know, you want them to hug a little bit, but not be too tight, like you said. I think that's kind of what she's going for there.
I love that. I think that's great personality. So I something that's very interesting to me, and I believe I heard, I don't know if she writes this in her written bio. I think she does it in one of her video bios. But Erica was actually initially casted to fly out to Survivor last year when season 41 was supposed to be filming, and then things got put on hold. I believe she said she quit her job in order to
Oh,
go out on
wow.
the show. Because again, even due to Survivor, you still got to get that time off from work, I guess.
Right?
And one of the many mentioned, and again in her part of the bio, which past Survivor will you play the game most like, she says Brenda on the outside and Todd underneath.
I like that.
Brenda is physically strong, socially aware, and not afraid to show her teeth. Great callback to Cara Moen. That is
Yeah.
very funny. I like that a lot. And she mentions that Todd is her all-time favorite player. And Todd is a favorite of a lot of people on this cast, which leads me to believe that this cast is not going to necessarily like, they're not going to blow you away physically, but
Right.
strategically, they're probably going to be very keen, and also probably very cutting in the confessionals, because Todd was one of the
Hmm.
best at the business in being so nice to your face and then absolutely like raking you over the coals in the confessionals. So
My favorite part of her little bio here comes under the "Why do you believe you can win?" Survivor. Starts off very strong with her answer. I've been manipulative since before I knew what manipulation was. And I love the honesty. She says, I relentlessly pursue my dreams. The great thing is, no one would expect it because of my youthful face and small stature. I can make it to the end, and I'm confident in my ability to advocate for myself at Final Tribal. I love that. She seems genuinely like a confident, not cocky person.
yeah, no, I definitely like a lot of what she says. She seems very down to earth, and she is on the I believe she's on the blue tribe, the Luvu tribe, which consists of again Danny, Sydney, as we aforementioned as well. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how. I feel like your social game is going to be huge in these first 2 days,
Hmm.
especially considering how people might melt away. So
Yes.
I'm curious to see how Erica survives here. If you're I feel like despite Survivor's best efforts to keep things diverse, and a lot of the women also mentioned that there hasn't been a female, a woman hasn't won the show in I think like 3 or 4 years.
Hmm.
Since the last only two female winners throughout the entirety of the 30s, which is unfortunate, but
Right.
well, I don't know. I feel like her being the smaller of the smallest physically of her tribe. I don't know if I really hope she makes it. Obviously, I think if this tribe continues, does well, maybe we get a swap somewhere down the line. I'm not totally sure,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I like what I'm reading from her. She seems very genuine, but genuine doesn't also always lend itself well to Survivor, because they will cut you without any hesitation.
You know, I would like to say, as we kind of go through these people so far, the Luvu tribe is strong.
Yeah,
That's a strong tribe.
that tribe looks like they got some meat on their bones. So very excited to see how this pans out for them, and I hope Erica's around to do so. But we continue to keep the train moving here as we move on to our next castaway, Jairus Robinson, a 20-year-old from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, college student, like we mentioned. His hobbies include Survivor, obviously, working with kids and pediatric nurses, athletics, and he mentions, jujitsu, running, and dance. So, very, again, very athletic, and mentions some great names here
Hmm.
in his players that he likes to play like.
Yeah, so wants to play Parvati, Fabio, and Jeremy. extremely strong winners.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I agree.
think anybody for those seasons disputed those winners. So that's great to look on. And then actually, if you go down to why do you believe you can win Survivor, he also mentions people like JT and Kim Sprodlin.
Yeah, one of the best winners in the business. So again, definitely, you see a lot of things in common with these people. JT and Kim, did a great job, kind of just dominating the masses. I think a quote from I think it was Brendan from Survivor Token Teams that said that he's willing to lose, and still vote for JT. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
it's so, we'll see if that sort of personality archetype hangs around him, because the thing that those two players have in common, and maybe things with Jairus will lend themselves better to that, is that the problems the people around JT and Kim didn't know when to cut them. There's people like that. I feel like you know uh Jairus has sort of that, okay, he'll find his ride or die, and eventually it's going to come to a fork in the road where his ride or die is either going to have to cut him, or he's going to make it to the end and win. So
Right. No, I definitely think I like the things he relates his own self to from the winners. Says no one in the history of Survivor can charm like Parv. I'm going to change that. I would love to have Fabio's ability to be underestimated, which I believe is the best thing you can be in Survivor. Lastly, I want to work Jeremy's shield management into my gameplay while still having my own king spin on it. I think he's going to be a front runner for sure. Like he does seem to, even from just his bio, like he even mentioned himself, kind of have that it factor that some people have just had in the past.
yeah, no, I'm very, very excited. Again, one of the younger contestants on the show too. I know the show has been very adamant about, wanting to bring some younger people, into the show. Also, crazy enough, one of the first contestants of the show to be born in the 2000s. I believe he
Ugh.
mentioned that he is older, he's younger than Survivor itself, which again makes me feel ancient. Hate it.
Right. Old. Very
Uh,
old.
and looking at his tribe, he is on the Ua tribe, which has Brad, on it, like the aforementioned. Jeannie Chen, a grocery clerk from Portland. Richard, yeah, it's Richard, or Ricard. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll go with Ricard. But 31-year-old flight attendant Sarah, a 23-year-old healthcare consultant, and Chantel, a 34-year-old pastor. So interesting group of people there. That this tribe to me is like the biggest X factor of, like, I don't
Hmm.
know what I'm gonna get here.
That's random. It's a very random group of people.
Yeah, I feel like you looking at this tribe, this might be the trouble spot if this tribe starts to lose a lot.
Yeah,
So
this might be the tribe that's like getting down to one or two people.
yeah, and listen, maybe
Maybe
Jairus
not.
is, yeah, maybe not, but maybe Jairus is the one that makes it to the end of that. I'm very excited to see how that shakes out for him, because I think with he has a great mind for the game. If the people around him are smart, they'll cut him immediately. But I
Hmm.
don't know. We'll see how it pans out for him.
Okay, next we have I'm gonna say it's Evie
Yeah, I believe it's
Jagoda.
pronounced Evie.
Evie.
Yeah,
Okay, Evie. I think you've watched more of the videos than I have, so I apologize to everyone.
yeah.
Evie is 28. They are from Westchester, New York. They currently live in Arlington, Massachusetts. They are a PhD student and they enjoy cooking, biking, being in nature. So, hiking, camping, swimming in ponds. Three words to describe them: extroverted, enthusiastic, smart. This part was my favorite part. Of all the bios. I'm not gonna lie. Pet peeves: men. Not all men, but I cannot stand machismo and mansplainers. Anything like that drives me insane. In grad school, I deal with a lot of know-it-all male energy, and it's a lot. Back when I dated men, I once broke up with a guy because we were on a trip to Budapest and he kept pronouncing it Budapest to prove how smart and worldly he was. And it was the biggest turnoff. I broke up with him literally 30 minutes after we got back from the trip. I think I'm
That
gonna
is
love Evie.
that's so funny. Evie is great. So yeah, I'm very excited for what Evie has in store here. They mentioned a lot in their bios that they would have Survivor watch parties over the pandemic. They talk a lot about their coming out story, as queer as well as non-binary. So again, it's a great story you can root for.
Mhm.
I just hope that their tribe looks like they will do pretty well. Again, they looks like they have some of the stronger competitors on their side. But again, anything can happen in these games. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Evie. I
Mhm.
think that again, another player that is very smart, mentions Todd in their bio as a player that they want to play as.
Natalie as well.
Natalie as well. Yeah, so
Yeah,
many
so
a lot of some good people to kind of model your game after. So I think if Evie's tribe can survive the early tribal councils, I think socially they'll be great.
mhm.
Looking at the layout of their tribe. I'm really excited to see how Evie does. I think they'll be great television no matter how long they're on the screen for.
And Evie is kind of like also great representation of kind of like you said, a man has won more often than not.
Yes.
And the fact that Evie is just so anti that energy, which I love, um, really kind of speaks to hopefully the turning point we're at where we just get, a real nice diverse group of winners, not just the cast, but of winners as a whole. Because I think, it's not so great when you're looking at a show like this all the time. And, I look at what if I got on Survivor, it's like, I want to know that I have a chance. You know what I mean? And I think, Evie and the rest of the cast really do symbolize that like anybody could come on Survivor and do well.
Yeah, listen, in the 40 seasons of Survivor, I believe only 13 women have won, which is insane to say the
Yeah.
least. But yeah, listen, I'm excited to see how Evie does. I think they have a great head on their shoulders. This looks like a good tribe that can kind of meld with. Skews a little bit more on the younger side. Uh, so we'll see. I'm very excited to see how they do. And I think Evie gives off. I think a big comparison I can throw off is got some. There's a lot of Sophie Clark happening here.
Yeah.
Can definitely kill you with their brains and their social game and their wit, but also physically not someone you can sleep on.
Right.
Sophie definitely did very very well in a lot of the challenges that they competed in both Winners at War and South Pacific. So I'm excited. I think every someone I think can go really really far if the cards work out for them.
All right. Richard or Ricard. Ricard Foyer. I think that's how you say that. Ricard is 31 from Linwood, Washington, currently lives in Sedro-Woolley, Washington, is a flight attendant, enjoys violin, running, and winter guard. Three words to describe him are hopeful, positive, and funny. Pet peeves, being asked a question and the answer being ignored. Um, I like him. He seems to me kind of a kind of
He seems real. He seems fun.
yeah, he seems very real. Very just there's not a lot of, I guess like for me, I just see like okay, he's very I don't want to call him like mid card or like, whatever, but he's there.
Yeah,
There's just
go
nothing
ahead.
super that jumps out at me like, oh, that's a storyline. However, I will say, it does say here, what is something we would never know from looking at you? I am deaf in one ear. I focus heavily on reading lips and I'm fluent ASL. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that because once again, it shows the diversity. Two, it shows that, hey, even if you have something that people have told you in life should be holding you back, he's still coming out here and doing Survivor. He's a flight attendant. He's very strong. And so I am excited to see him. I just hope for his sake, because with all reality TV, as we know, producer storylines are a big thing. I hope he has his moment and does well.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and Ricard goes into great detail about their husband, a transgender man that carried their children, lost his parents in a car accident. So definitely a story you can root for sure. But
Hmm.
again, that's not always a great thing for you in Survivor. People will vote you out. They I think Nicaragua is the glaring one that comes to mind. There's a contestant that had a prosthetic leg, and people were
Hmm.
like, "Oh, we can't go to the end with that person. They're gonna
Right.
beat us 10 times out of 10."
That's
So
an easy winner. And that's where I say, I hope he can kind of break that mold and break past that and get his airtime and get him screen time and just really do well and show everyone he can do well and have that chance to do well.
Yeah, no, I agree. It mentions that the past survivor they will play like is Aubrey Bracco, but win. Uh,
That's fair. That's fair.
that's valid. I'm excited. Listen, Aubrey's one of my favorites. I'm excited to see
Hmm.
how this works out here. And again, anyone on the Green Tribe, I feel like is kind of like a wild card. So
Right.
I think this tribe can either do very well or they'll
Very poor.
yeah, they definitely have the highest like boom or buzz ratio here.
Hmm.
But listen, I think the story is great. I hope we see more of Ricard as the season progresses, and flight attendants tend to do pretty well in the show as Todd
That
also
is
a flight
true.
attendant. So as we move on to our next contestant here, Chantel Smith, the aforementioned pastor from Toronto, currently residing in Washington, D.C. A lot of Canadian representation in the season, by the
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
I know it was
Yeah.
only recently that Survivor opened up the borders to Canadians that want to enter the show. So a lot of fun. Has hobbies that include running, improv, acting, comedy, and dancing. The three words they use to describe them as passionate, authentic, and resilient. Pet peeves include bad breath, secondhand embarrassment, and slow talkers. I hope she realizes that you're not going to have a toothbrush out here in most
I was gonna
cases.
say, I was reading all the pet peeves and I said, "Oh, do you know what show you're going on?"
Yeah. Something else that stands out to me is that something that she says we would never know from looking at you is that she said she was in a gang.
Hmm. Interesting. Right above that, she does mention what is the accomplishment you're most proud of? The accomplishment I am most proud of is doing the hard work in therapy and confronting my demons, working through the pain and feelings of injustice, and then being willing to cultivate a relationship with those who let me down when I was little. Mentally, very strong, I can tell. Which can take you so far in this game. A lot of the times, if you have a good mental game, sometimes that physical game, doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're definitely going to have, the social game, down pat. Definitely a very a lot of broad, subject matter that they're a fan of. Um, so I think socially Chantel will do fine. It'll be interesting to see how they do physically. Survivor player, they will play the game most like, and she says, I think I'm going to play the game most like Kim, strategically and relationally like Ty when it comes to the idols, but I got some Parv in me too. So
Interesting.
yeah, an interesting array of players that she looks out to. I don't know. I think the jury for me is still out on Chantel. I I think definitely it's going to be impossible to break them.
Mhm.
I think if they're able to to get in well on their tribe again, Green Tribe.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Chantel's on that green tribe.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out here for Chantel. But I'm a fan. I hope they do well. I think time will tell because, like we
Mhm,
said, I think the
yes.
Green Tribe it's got some serious like boom or
The
buzz potential.
the green tribe is very much as a whole, time will tell. Kind of what I was saying about Ricard and now that we've said about Brad, Chantel, and Jarrus, we've looked at a good bit of them from the green tribe. It is just a very big question mark at this point. Um, they're either going to do really well or they're going to be the ones that get whittled down. I don't see them having quite the same strength as the other two.
Yep, I think your wit will definitely carry you, a long way
Hmm.
in shows like this. So I'm excited. I think Chantel's will be good television, regardless of what we got here. As we move on to our next contestant here, Shannon.
Yes, Nasir Mudalift. He is 37 from Sri Lanka. I hope I am saying that right. I am not quite sure where that is. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
that
if
is
you
it.
know.
Yeah, no, that's I believe that's the country of origin of Natalie and Nadia Anderson, if I remember correctly.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, it's a
cool.
country. It's a country in South Asia.
Okay. And currently, he is in Morgan Hill, California. He is a sales manager who likes cricket, traveling, and cooking. Three words to describe him would be authentic, outgoing, and hardworking. Pet peeves: laziness and people who don't contribute to group efforts. So hopefully, we don't have any people who just want to lay in the shelter all day on his
Yeah,
tribe.
definitely not a fan of shelter people. Nasir was very wax poetic about their achieving the American dream. They mentioned living in poverty, living in he mentions again something that we would not know from looking at you. He lived in a remote village and didn't experience modern technology until he was an adult.
Wow.
So that this is a man that has definitely seen some stuff. Someone that has survived in the wilderness and I something that's a teeny bit of a red flag is, when asked what past survivor you will play the game most like, he says, I think I'm a pretty original, not too similar to anyone who has played before. I have some aspects of former players, like my jungle skills and my engaging personality, but I think I'm unique and will bring something new and refreshing to the game. That
Well,
doesn't always work out for these
I
people.
hope so. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I think we're all in the same boat. We hope that it works out
Right.
for Nasir there. People that come in trying to, break the mold don't, with the purpose of breaking the mold, don't always necessarily do well. These are the types of people that, tend to, try to make big moves early, tend to maybe fizzle out a little bit quicker. So I don't know. Listen, they definitely have the chops to be able to, live out in the in the woods in
Right.
less than ideal situations. So and finds himself in a pretty decent situation. And the blue tribe, I think, physically is pretty
The
stacked.
strongest, I
Yeah.
think, by far. Yeah.
So I think as long as Nasir again doesn't I think if he plays a bad social game or something like that, I think he might be
Right.
an early target. Again, you don't the golden rules that you never want to annoy somebody, be annoying out the gate. You want to just kind of be a team player. Don't put unnecessarily pressure on yourself.
Well,
So
and also you never want to go in and his just past survivor quote screams this. You never want to go in and say, I'm different. I'm new. Nobody knows how to play this game like me.
yes.
It just never works out for those people. So I hope it does, and we'll just have to see.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what they have in store here as we move on to, I think, one of my favorite contestants so
Me
far.
too. Okay, Jeannie Chen is 46 from Los Angeles, currently resides in Portland, Oregon. She is a grocery clerk whose hobbies include cooking, video games, thrift store, and antique shopping. Three words to describe her are funny, kind, and sensible. Pet peeves: people who wear masks incorrectly by not covering their nose and mouth, or who do not wear them at all. I love her.
Preach.
I love her. I
I
just
yeah, I'm
she's
a fan.
she's so normal.
Yeah, I think you can tell she's a real fan of the show. Again, a grocery clerk in Portland. Definitely a hard job of the last year. A first chair cellist in junior high school and plays video games. Very curious to see what types of games she plays.
Me too. I want to know.
Again, also says that they don't compare themselves to any other contestants in the game. I'm going to have so many alliances so I can have the best opportunity to further my game.
I hope she's careful.
Yeah, I also hope that she knows what she's doing, because if you try to make alliances with everybody, the last person I can recall in my mind that tried to make an alliance with everybody on the beach was Zane Knight, and that burnt out in an epic fashion.
Well,
so
though, look at Russell.
This is true. Yeah, I feel like with Russell, it was Russell was definitely in benefit because his tribe kept winning, and you've seen how future Russell seasons have gone. People are definitely like, okay, we can't let this guy continue to get away with it anymore. We have to do something about this. So other than that, I think Jeannie screams personality. I'm so excited to see how they do here. In a pretty okay situation in the Green Tribe. Again, like we mentioned, this is definitely going to be
so hit or miss.
Who they mesh with. I'm so stoked.
You know what I will say? I think the Ua tribe, now that I'm looking at them, they may not be the strongest. I think they're going to be the puzzle people, though.
I agree. I think they look like they got some. If there was a brain versus brawn versus beauty approach here,
they're the brain.
They definitely have a lot of brain here. So I'm excited to see how Jeannie fits in here. Again, just such a great personality. I need to know what games they play. That's all I care about.
Me too. Jeannie, please drop some catchphrases or something in the first episode.
Yeah,
let the gamers know. You're one of us. We'll take care of you.
Yeah. And so as we get one of the older contestants on the show, we move on now, Shannon, to one of the younger contestants on the show in Xander.
Yes, Xander, our app developer of the show.
Yeah, very, very hip. Xander Hastings, a 21-year-old app developer residing in Chicago right now, originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Enjoys free climbing, road tripping, antique shopping, and graphic design. 3 words to describe himself would be independent, resilient, and adventurous. And his pet peeves include laziness and cockiness, especially for people who like to bark orders.
Mm.
So Xander definitely Xander is someone I feel like he if he wasn't an app developer, I feel like he'd be like an influencer on TikTok or
I
like
was literally, I was, as you were reading that, I was just in my head, I was like, TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
yeah, it's and so Xander looks like a lot of fun. Again, the second
Hmm.
youngest contestant on the cast. Um, I feel like he's definitely I feel like to me just judging by his by who's on his tribe and who he's gonna what his pet peeves are. He strikes me as someone, and who, again, the player who wants to play, one of the players he likes to play the most like is Jay from
Hmm.
Millennials versus Gen X. I think he's going to be someone that like rubs people the wrong way. I think he's going to come in
Yeah,
here with a villain's attitude.
I definitely see villain in him. I think his pet peeve is very telling: laziness and cockiness, especially from people who like to bark orders. I hope he's not projecting
Yes.
that second part there, because sometimes people who say that do that. So I hope he really does go in. Something I also want to mention: he is also another cross country athlete. We have a lot of those this season.
Yeah, maybe that's the pipeline. I don't know.
It may be, but obviously, overall as a whole, another very physically fit person. We'll have to see how he actually plays the game. Uh, he says, I believe I can win Survivor. I will be the final survivor because I'm a jack of all trades, and there's nothing in life that can stop me. If I'm not happy with my situation, I change it and shape the world the way I want to see it. I form deep bonds in every social sphere I encounter and live such a diverse life. There's no one I can't relate to and empathize with. I am
Mm.
disciplined and won't rest until the million is mine. And no matter what, I won't get complacent or cocky. I don't know.
I don't know. It's gonna be hard because I feel like
Yeah.
it's like something is just about like the energy that Xander's giving off here. I just feel like he's gonna be someone that's gonna like try to stir the pot a little bit more. I don't really
Oh,
see
for sure.
he definitely strikes that he's got that sort of energy about him. I could be totally wrong, but I definitely Survivor doesn't really like to cast villains for the sake of being villains anymore.
Right.
But I feel like he definitely has the energy of someone that'll like stir the pot, maybe go against the grain. Just kind of looking at who's on his tribe. I feel like just like him and Evie might not like get along.
Oh yeah, no, they're gonna fight.
Yeah, him and
They're
David, I
gonna.
feel like are gonna like not get along with each other. So it's gonna be fun television regardless whether he fizzles out.
Hmm.
Because he mentions players like Devin and Joe at the same time, and again players that aren't necessarily good at the challenges, but don't necessarily have the have such a big target on them at all the times that they're
Hmm.
never gonna get in a position to win. So I'm excited to see what Xander brings to television as we move on to our next contestant here.
Sarah Wilson. She's 24 from Sherman Oaks, California, currently residing in Boston, Massachusetts. She is a healthcare consultant whose hobbies include poker, aerial silks and trapeze, cooking and baking. If you were to describe her, astute, resilient, and witty. I like her. I just get really good vibes from her.
Yeah, she seems like fun. I'm a fan of her. She definitely has sort of that you know pretty girl mentality, obviously. So I'm excited to see what she brings to the table. She mentions that her grandmother passed away from COVID.
Mm,
So again, as much as you want to ignore that, how much of a factor COVID played in the delaying the season, I feel like there's going to I'm sure there's going to be things like that come to mind. She mentions again Kim Spradlin, big pop,
yes.
big favorite amongst the women. So listen, I like her a lot. I think she's got good energy. I feel like she's on a pretty okay tribe situation. Again, we'll
Yeah.
see how it pans out here. I
I
don't think
just
I don't
again.
yeah, she might be looked at as an early threat because I feel like
Hmm.
the younger women
Right.
like we mentioned, as much as we try to make things on an equal playing field, they're always going to be inherently at a disadvantage. So I feel like
Hmm.
if our tribe loses early, she might be in danger.
I do like, why do you believe you can win Survivor? I don't think there has ever been someone on the show with the same physicality, intelligence, and social awareness that I have. I love talking to and bonding with people, and in order to win Survivor, you have to know how to connect with people on a human level. I'm very good at reading a room and know when someone is lying to me. I also have the physical strength and fighting spirit that I know will push me to never give up and always give everything I have. I'm incredibly tough, both mentally and physically, and I believe I will thrive in the environment of the game. I'm not going to tell anyone I went to MIT. Ooh, so she is really smart, and I think I will be underestimated, which I will use to my advantage. With my ability to genuinely connect with people, brains, and physical strength, I could definitely be the fallen survivor. You know what? I believe her. I really do. Like reading her whole bio, I think this is someone that we're going to see at least make the merge. Very physically strong, very mentally strong. I like her a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she's if her tribe, wins and does well early, I think she can really go on a run here. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out here for Sarah Wilson. As we move on to, I think, in my opinion, this next contestant has the highest volume of either like boom or bust. In
Mm-hmm.
David Voce, a 35-year-old neurosurgeon from Chicago, Illinois. Big Chicago representation this season. Also, I
Mm-hmm.
realize a lot of Midwest.
Also,
Uh,
Washington D.C.
yeah, big area of from of casting, I guess. But again, a neurosurgeon, like we mentioned, 3 words to describe him would be determined, passionate, and stubborn. And his pet peeves include revolve around people's incompetence, laziness, and lack of self awareness. When you work an insane number of hours a week, you just can't tolerate pure ineptness. David looks like just the proper amount of like, head on his shoulders and like
Mm-hmm.
meathead,
Right.
energy.
Just enough. My favorite thing right off the bat, which survival will you play the game the most like and why? I would play with a similar aggressive nature as Russell Hands. He was aggressive, but his social assimilation needed work, which is something that I have always said. If Russell had a better social game, he would have won.
Yeah, I agree. Russell, other survivors have said this as well. Russell was, had was a had 2 legs of a 3-legged stool. He
Mm-hmm.
obviously, revolutionized how the game was played, but his social game was so bad. You saw how it panned out for him in returning seasons. Um, Listen, I think if you see how David wants to play, and I listened to a couple of his video interviews, definitely very in touch with like all the Survivor podcasts. Mentions people that he that he looks up to in both in the podcasting community and the content creation community. So definitely very in touch with how the game is played. I'm just really, really nervous. For anyone that wants to say they play like Russell means he's probably going to want to try and come out
Mm-hmm.
aggressively. I think he definitely strikes me as a bit of an alpha. I don't know.
Yeah.
He definitely, again, in a season where you only have 26 days, the amount of moves you have to play with are diminished. I feel like if David's tribe loses early, they can be like, hey, listen, let's like put a pack together and like let's get rid of this guy because like this guy could
Right.
be trouble for us down the line.
I think another player who, kind of just needs to not fly under the radar, but just kind of skate by pre merge and then merge, he's got to go right out of the gate and he's got to get his little group together. And, something he says is, my final tribal council will rival the likes of Todd's.
That's big
Those are
shoes to
big
fill.
shoes. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
big shoes. So I kind of want to see him get there just to see how he does that.
Yeah, listen, Todd notoriously having one of the best tribal council performances of all time. So that's that's a big target you're putting on your back, David. So uh,
You're setting people's expectations very high.
yeah, listen, I think David is either going to do really well or he's going to crash and burn completely, and I'm looking
Right.
forward to it regardless. So also very handsome.
Also, yes, yeah, let's give credit where credit's due. He's very handsome. All right, and next here we're whittling down to the end. Deshaun Radin, who is 26 from San Bernardino, California, currently living in Miami, Florida, is a medical student, enjoys cooking, making music, playing tennis. 3 words to describe him: charming, devious, resilient. My biggest pet peeve is being told what to do. Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. Looking at looking at who I don't know how much of a problem he'll have on his tribe, but he definitely strikes me as he definitely comes off as someone that wants to be like the alpha.
yeah.
And he mentions he wants to, looking at his game, he's like, well, I mean, let's be real here. My game will be unprecedented, but I see my game being the most like Surrey Field socially and mentally, with a sprinkle of Wendell for putting out competition wins in the clutch and jury management. I will be Surrey and Wendell's love child. Well, I hope.
Well,
Listen, I hope it works out for him. Sari
me too.
famously, just the robbed goddess of all time. Never
True.
had an opportunity to vouch her case. So hopefully he leans more Wendell than he does Sari. But
Mm-hmm.
I like Deshaun. I think he's got a nice personality. I think he's on a good tribe situation. I think his tribe is going to be physically very, very set, and he seems like a very. It's going to be interesting to see like how he deals with someone like Danny. I feel like they're both going to
Right.
be jockeying for the alpha position, and
Yeah. No,
it's going to
I
be interesting to see how it
agree.
pans out.
And then you have very strong-minded women on that team as well. With Sydney, we've already talked about Sydney, and I believe we've talked about Erica. We still have to talk about Heather. A lot of very what it seems like the even the photo is giving off confidence from every single one of them.
Yeah,
So will be interesting to see, especially because he says, I don't like being told what to do, how all these confident personalities fit well together and who kind of ends up. Because on every tribe on Survivor, there will always be kind of that one person that's like, you go to them. They are just the unspoken leader. Super interested to see who will end up being that leader of the Lulu tribe.
yeah, no, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I truly hope for the best for Deshaun. He seems like fun television, and again,
Hmm.
I'm always curious to see how these alpha males will engage with each other, because
Right.
that's going to be a beautiful train wreck to endure. As again, we're nearing the end here. We only have a few more castmates left here, Shannon, as we move on to Tiffany Seeley, a 47-year-old teacher from Forest Hills, New York, but currently residing in Plainfield, New York. Her hobbies include running, talking to people, building things in the house. Interesting. Her three words to describe her are funny, loving, and loud. And her pet peeves is she hates being wrong, which is fun.
Interesting. You know what's crazy? I do respect her. She says my favorite, or what is the accomplishment you're most proud of? I am most proud of raising my two boys to be fine young men. So she's a mom, she's a teacher, she's used to kind of being in that supportive leader role. Which is why I think she says I hate being wrong. She's probably influenced and steered a lot of people in her life and career. I will say very strong players that she relates to. I would play competitively like Ozzy, loyal like Colby, but not detriment to my own game, and endearing like Parvati. That's a strong three.
Yeah, listen, I agree. She only has, Ozzy famous, or excuse me, Colby, famously played full tilt. So I'm
Hmm.
curious to see how this works out for here. Interesting that she says that something she people would be surprised to know about is that she hates brushing her teeth before bed.
She
Okay,
also never washes her face. Interesting. All right.
I dig it. If it works for
Sure.
you, it works for you.
You know what?
So
I will say actually though, she's very beautiful. I love the outfit she has on.
yeah, big fan of the.
Maybe she knows something we don't. I don't
Maybe
know.
it'll be fun to see how the mom archetype pans out here. I
Hmm.
feel like this is one of the more slept on archetypes in Survivor, but
Oh yeah.
moms have famously done very well in the show. Tina, obviously, for the older woman, Julie Rosenberg, most recently from The Edge of Extinction, did it
Hmm.
very well. So I feel like this is an archetype that is definitely slept on. And again, this tribe, I feel like of the Orange tribe, definitely is built physically pretty well.
Hmm.
So I'm excited to see how Tiffany fits in here. Again, being the older woman on a tribe with younger women, I feel like, especially most of the younger people in the cast
Hmm.
are on her tribe, and Liana and Xander. So it'll be interesting to see how she works out here. I feel like I could definitely see like in an older woman, younger man alliance working out here. I feel like that's
Hmm.
that's definitely a popular one. So
We've seen right, yeah, we've seen that before for sure.
yeah, I'm excited.
Um,
I think she
yeah.
she has potential here. So
And speaking of, we actually do have our oldest male contestant here, and Eric Abraham. He is 51 from Atlanta, Georgia, currently residing in San Antonio, Texas. He is a cybersecurity analyst whose hobbies include basketball, golfing, and reading. The words to describe him would be open minded, optimistic, confident. Pet peeves people who have characteristics of being slothful, condescending, and sycophantic. Huh.
Yeah, listen, I read through a bit of of Eric's bio here. Something that stands out to me is that he loves scuba diving and
Mhm.
enjoys examining the surface of the moon. That's got this. He has like he has coach energy, and I mean
Uh,
that in like the most positive way possible.
No, I agree. And he says he would construct a hybrid playing style of Richard Hatch and Wendell Holland with a touch of Boston Rob.
Yeah, that's a group for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how Eric will pan out here. Again, the oldest male contestant. That's never necessarily a great title to have, but again,
No.
looks very
We'll
physically fit.
see.
So
Hmm.
again, the Orange Tribe I think is going to be built the best physically. So it'll be nice to see how he pans out here. But again, you know, I it's so hard to tell just like on the surface alone, but you know he says some interesting stuff like the game is not only my motivation, it is my tool to show myself that I can be a soul survivor. He seems very
Honestly,
cerebral.
and he says, what accomplishment are you most proud of? My daughter, as she is the next generation in our family. Huge coach vibes. Just everything screams coach.
Yeah, if there was a family visit, he would definitely bring out his assistant coach for sure.
Yeah, because he is huge coach vibes. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what Eric can bring to the table. Again, definitely one of those cases where no matter how long I think he's on TV,
It'll
I
be
feel
good.
yeah, it'll definitely be a lot of fun. So as we move on to, I believe we only have what? Yeah, is this our last
This is
contestant?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the last contestant of the season so far, and our oldest woman on the show. Definitely does not look it though.
No,
Heather
she's
Aldred,
beautiful.
52 years old from Charleston, South Carolina, a stay-at-home mom, enjoys exploring, painting, tennis, and pickleball. Interesting that you
Those
enjoy
are
both.
very stay-at-home mom hobbies.
Yeah, authentic, passionate, devoted are the three words she used to describe herself, and her pet peeves include loud cell phone talkers and people who choose not to hear the truth and bullies.
Hmm.
Again, big mom energy here for sure.
Yes.
So I'm a fan here, and she says she will play the game most like Rick Devens. Interesting choice
All right.
of contestant there. Hopefully she doesn't get. Hopefully she doesn't. Hopefully she knows that the edge of extinction isn't in play here, and
Right.
if she gets voted out fourth, she's gone. But
Right.
I like she's like he played so hard with everything he had, even when it was getting bad. It made his time fun, and that's going to be fun to watch. Again, one of my favorites, obviously, in that realm. Also mentions Tina Wesson as well as Lisa Welchel and Chrissy Hoffback. Again, the older woman mom archetype
Yes.
definitely oozing out of Heather here.
I will say Lisa, I enjoyed Lisa's game. She actually, even just, kind of looking at Heather, she does very much remind me of Lisa. So I'm excited.
Yeah, she seems like a lot of fun. Again, she is on she's on the tribe with she's on the tribe, the blue tribe with everybody. So
Good
uh
try. That's a
yeah,
yeah, I will stand and say I think right now for me, in the order of kind of strongest to I don't know would be Luva, which is blue, and then Yase, which is orange, and then the green tribe UA definitely is a big question mark
yeah.
at the bottom for me.
I think the blue tribe skewing a little bit older will work out well for
Hmm.
Heather, because I feel like with the mom archetype, I feel like this is, this they usually tend to skew, ride with the older contestants.
Right.
So I've, if she wants to go to teen approach and maybe find her Colby, in
Yes.
someone like Danny or, or Deshaun. So that'll be a fun, that'll be a fun dynamic to navigate. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how Heather does here. I think she's on a tribe that will benefit her, her well, in regards to her success. So, barring natural disaster, again, being the oldest woman definitely is not, a great,
Hmm.
it's not great for you. So I'm excited to know nonetheless, though. I think she looks like she has a lot of personality. I love the mom archetype. That's
Me
personally one of
too.
my
No, I
favorites.
also do like Lisa, one of my favorites of all time. I just love that. Yeah, no, I think this is a strong cast.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very, very strong cast. So again, I'm curious to see if there will be any tribe swaps at all if there will be stuff like, I don't know, if when they'll merge at in a 27 a 26-day season.
Mhm.
We might even get a merge of like, I don't know, 8-10 people. So
Right.
it's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes down here. So yeah, listen, so we've successfully navigated the cast of Survivor, season 41. Shannon, I'm very, very proud of us here. So
Yeah, no,
uh
it's gonna be a great season. I'm excited. We haven't had a new Survivor in a long time, so it will be good.
so as before we get out of here, do you have a winner pick? Do you have someone that you want to throw your hat in the ring with right now?
Oh gosh, let me look at them real good because I there's so many that could truly be, there's really when I say this is coming from someone who's watched a lot of Survivor, it is a strong group. I think
Yeah.
Sydney, 25-year-old law student on the Blue Tribe, could do really well. Heather, if she kind of plays that older mom kind of guiding figure game and gets her ally. Green Tribe, Brad, I think could be very strong. Brad and Jeannie from the Green Tribe are my favorites. Hands down. I love them. I hope they align and make it very far together. And then from the Yase tribe, I'm just going to go David. I really think David, if he can pull off the Russell game with a better social game, is a big threat to everybody as a whole.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's so hard for me to choose my favorites too. I definitely am. Again, this cast seems very bookish. This cast seems very smart. I'm excited to
Hmm.
see how this will shake out here. I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring with. I really like Jairus. I think he's gonna do very well. Hopefully, as long as he keeps his threat level low, I think he'll do really
Hmm.
well. I would love to see someone like Erica do well again. Shortest physically,
Right.
physically the smallest, but I think they pack a lot of punch. Evie's another one that I'm a huge fan of. I just love their story, so I think they'll do very
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ride with. It's so hard.
I know that's kind of why I picked like a couple from each tribe because it really is a good cast.
I like Sydney. I think I'm gonna. I think
Yeah.
I'll throw my hat in the corner with Sydney. I think Sydney has the right amount of physical strength as well as enough of the social chops that make people want to keep her around for a while.
Yeah, I agree. This is a real. I am so excited for this season. It is such a diverse and different cast. They're all strong in their own ways, and I am excited to see how this all kind of shakes out.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited too, and we hope you guys will join us for the ride. This is something I've always wanted to do is kind of talk about a season of a show in the real time as it airs. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We'll assume we watch the episodes on Wednesdays. We'll upload these by the end of the week, either on Thursday or
Hmm.
Friday. Well, we'll talk through the episode. We'll talk through the strategy. We'll give our predictions of how things will go for the next episode.
Hmm.
I'm really, really excited, Shannon, and
I'm so
it's
excited.
gonna be a fun journey for us to go through. Survivor's finally back.
We're back. Survivor's back. Thank gosh. Gosh, I never, after season 40 with even the virtual, announcing of the winner, I was just like, I can't wait to give back to Survivor.
Yeah, no, I'm super stoked here. So, Shannon, let the people know at home where they can find you as we go about this journey together.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter, Shenanigans. That is, I always forget how it's spelled. Isn't that so funny? Underscore Shannoniganz. You can follow me on Twitter. That's really it. I don't stream or anything yet. Maybe soon. We will see. And yeah, of course, I have to give a shout out to No Pause Tournaments. The team I'm on, they're great. They run quite a few locals, including Vacation every Saturday at the Lehigh Valley Mall. Highly recommend you check it out if you're in the area.
I agree. I'm very, very excited for how things will are for what is in your future. So, and you can follow me on Twitter at Koopa NJ. Again, this is not replacing Koop'd Up in any way, shape, or form. It will air simultaneously alongside Koop'd Up, the pop culture podcast in which I talk about all other things pop culture and stuff. Shannon's been a guest on my show, as well as other favorites you might have around the internet. Yeah, keep up to I'm Koopa NJ across platforms. Follow me if you feel inclined, and yeah, we will see you guys after the premiere of Survivor for our first official episode of The Tribe is Broken. So we'll
The
see you
tribe
guys
is
next time.
broken. We will see you guys later.
Bye bye.